PathMonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in the buying journey separates you from the competition online. PathMonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add PathMonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Jennifer from Motivation Code, CMO with them. How are you doing today, Jennifer?
I'm doing great, thanks.
It's great to have you on, and we're excited to learn a little bit more, and I'm sure our listeners are tuning in wondering what Motivation Code is all about. So let's kick it off with that, Jennifer. In your own words, can you tell us a little bit more?
Well, let me start by asking you a question. Have you ever been using one of your core strengths, doing something that you're great at, but you struggle to engage in the project or the task or to really care about it, and you procrastinated a whole bunch?
I have, so yep, definitely you hit that point. Yep.
So have I. I've been doing this same work for 2 different clients, where one, I went all in, gave it my best, was moving fast, and was excited about the work. And then doing the same thing for another client, but really struggled to care and procrastinated, and I couldn't get in the groove, and the work felt draining. And I've also looked back at times where I had a really productive day and thought, I wish every day could be like this. And the truth is that it can, and that's what Motivation Code helps people do. You would call it a personality assessment. Now, our scientists hate that because it's so much more than a personality assessment. But what we do is with Motivation Code, we go beyond your strengths to look at the motivations behind them, the underlying drivers of why you think the way you think or make the decisions you do or why you act the way you act. So when somebody completes the Motivation Code assessment, they figure out why sometimes they go all in and sometimes they struggle to engage, and why sometimes work is energizing and other times it's engaging. So they can apply that knowledge and understand what drives their own high performance in their work so they can be a star at work.
Definitely, that's important. I love that. So then, what would you say then if you were to sum it up then? What would that be the key problem that you guys like to solve for clients?
Oh, 100%. A deeper understanding and self-awareness of how you become a high performer, what you need to show up at your best, what you need to feel engaged and get excited about your work, and what you uniquely can contribute to a company is vital if you want to be a high-value team member. If you want to be somebody that people look to as one of the best in your organization, or if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur or a freelancer, or you're working with clients, right? Understanding who you're communicating with and how to lead them or how to communicate them to them is absolutely important, because it's the best way to get people to respond in the way you want them to respond.
Definitely important. And so that is there a certain vertical segment? Is there an ideal ICP that usually you guys go for there at Motivation Code?
We actually have 6 core customer segments that we've nailed down, like micro segments in our core audience. Organizations use our assessment for hiring and talent development and making sure they get the right people in the right roles so they can retain those people longer. Agencies use our assessment to better understand their leads and clients so they can tailor their pitch and their client communication and client management to those people so they get more loyalty and they get more yeses. Leaders use our assessment to individualize and personalize the way they lead each member of their team. Teams use it to better understand each other and collaborate and work together faster and reduce conflict. Coaches use it to better understand how their clients are motivated so they can adjust the way that they coach them so that clients go all in and they stick with it and they achieve the results that they want, so it makes their coaching more effective. individuals use it to better understand who they are, right? So it's across the board. But bottom line, it's self-awareness to perform at your best.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Great to hear that from you guys. And so then, how would somebody usually then find out about Motivations Code? Is there a top client acquisition channel that you guys have there, Jennifer?
We're really young in our marketing. While this assessment's been around since the 1960s, maybe even the late 1950s, right? Our marketing and visibility efforts are pretty young. So typically customers have always found us through networking, referrals, strategic partners, and our team, right? Sharing. These days, we're leaning more heavily into YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and also investing a lot more in direct outreach. So typically, most of our leads have all been inbound, and now we're investing a little bit more in outbound.
All right, perfect. That's great to hear from you guys. And so that way our listeners who are tuned in can go ahead and visit you guys. They could always check you out at motivationscode.com. What role does a website play for your client acquisition, Jennifer?
Well, our website is primarily a marketing tool, but it's also where we sell our primary assessment product. So if you want to take the Motivation Code assessment, you go to motivationcode.com and you choose the light or the premium assessment. And it's the same assessment experience, but the results are just more robust in premium. But so our website is where we sell our core product. It is our primary source of bringing in inbound leads. So we're developing landing pages and comparison pages and all kinds of things like that we're driving traffic into through organic measures, paid ads across social, and it's also where we are really looking to differentiate from typical corporate, more boring assessments in our industry.
Definitely. All right. Great to hear that. And on that note, then, is there any tools or tips or methods that you would recommend to our listeners as far as some website lead generation?
Most of the time, when you're looking at a website that isn't producing, you think, I need a redesign. That's not exactly the case, because pretty websites might work at first, but eventually, if all it is pretty and looking good, results will slow or they'll start to plateau. They'll kind of peter out, right? So even writing copy and content based on what you know and what you think everybody wants to hear or what you want to say, it works at first. But eventually you run out of people that already know you, or you run out of all the initial curiosity of launching something new, and results, again, start to plateau. So you can have all the right things: simple, easy to use navigation, all the right pages, a clear conversion funnel. You can have great testimonials, compelling and persuasive CTAs, and still not see the results that you want. If you want a great converting website, it's not necessarily about just being pretty or having all the bells and whistles. This is why ugly websites convert, right? But the secret, the one thing you can't skip, if you want a website that works for you, is understanding who you're selling to. It's customer research, right? It is who you're selling to and how what you're selling is relevant to those people. You have to know what they care about, what they worry about, what they need, what they want, what they value, the language that they speak when they talk about what you do and how you can help. And you have to understand the value and impact what you sell has in their business or their job or their life. And that is when you can create something that really, really works.
I would totally agree with you, right? Getting to know your client a little bit more, get some feedback, and put on your website. Definitely would agree with you on that. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jennifer. And well, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about you as a leader. You being the CMO there for Motivation Code. What are some key tasks you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
I get to have a hand in the development of our core products and offers, which is really fun. But the majority of my days are spent deep in brand messaging, copywriting, and design and the strategy behind those things. So our website copy, our landing page copy, the research, talking to customers, all of those types of things. So I'm looking at data, I'm looking at keywords, all of the things. A lot of reading.
Definitely important. And on that, so then I mean, there's a lot of overwhelming information as far as some marketing, everything's new, right? How do you usually stay up to date with all that, the new strategies in marketing?
I would say there are three ways, right? So first, I read everything. I consume content on Instagram like nobody's business. So if you are advertising a freebie or a webinar, I've probably downloaded it. I read everything. I click on everything. I look at everything. I don't necessarily care about what I'm downloading or what I'm registering for, but I want to see how you're selling it. I want to see how I go from ad all the way into the click to the download and what your upsell is, what your follow-up funnel looks like after it. So looking at what people are doing in the industry and what's grabbing attention and what's pulling people through and how they're doing that. There's so much value in looking at all of those things. The second is understanding that rarely is something new introduced. Right? Most of the time, we're just looking at a new twist on something that's already known. So going to conferences and workshops and seminars and retreats and talking to people, hearing different perspectives about the same thing that you do. A lot of people think, I don't need to go to that session. I already have expertise in that area. I don't need to go to that conference. I'm already good at that. But there's so much magic in hearing somebody else talk about the same thing you have expertise in, because they talk about it differently. And they might have different metaphors or examples or stories. And there's always these little things that you can pick out and say, ooh, I never thought about it like that, but that's an interesting way to explain it. Or I can take that little piece and tweak what I'm doing to get better and better and better, right? So really looking at what other people are doing and different approaches and different perspectives on the same thing you're already doing, right? And then also looking at deep conversations with people who are further along the same path that you're on. So find a way to get in the room with people who are where you want to go. Look at the goals that you have and find the people that have already achieved them and talk to them, right? Pick their brain and ask them questions and figure out, how do you get in those rooms? And some of my biggest leaps have been from those experiences.
Definitely would agree. I love what you said, right? I mean, you go into a webinar and you might know probably 80%, 90% of what they're saying, right? But that one piece, you're like, hey, I got something from it, right? So going into something, knowing that whatever he says, there might be something that you're not doing, or maybe that you forgot that you had, done 3, 4, 5 years ago. You're like, hey, let me go ahead and do that. Let's start doing that again, right? And reaching out to people, I think that's a crucial thing, right? They have the experience, so might as well, pick their brain. Definitely awesome to hear that from you, Jennifer. And well, let's jump into our next section here, Jennifer, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you ready for them?
Sure.
All right. First off, Jennifer, what is that last book that you read?
Built to Belong.
All right. Interesting read there for our listeners. Next up is what is that one single thing that your company's focused on at the moment the most?
Gaining visibility.
All right, great. Love it. Next is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Well, I was going to say changing the sheets on my bed and making the bed. That'd be awesome to automate. But marketing, right? I would say, gosh, better, cleaner transcripts, or a CRM that actually has the features that you want, not all the bloat that everybody thinks you want.
Definitely, right? I think there's really good CRMs, but there's just so many things on them, and, you probably use,
Well, let's face it, like most are all in one and they're all mediocre crammed in one, or all the individual things that are really great have to be pieced together with string and duct tape and tools like Zapier, which introduces risk of things breaking. I'm like, give me a modular CRM or marketing tool where I can be like, I need that module, and that module, and that's all I get. And I'm not all bloated with all the things I don't need. Like, somebody build that, please.
I'm sure. I mean, with the way things are going, we'll see something like that in a year. or two, right? That would be great.
I hope so.
Yep, definitely. And well, then, lastly here, Jennifer, I mean, you have a lot of experience already in the marketing world, but what is that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Learn sales psychology and customer research first, copywriting second, and until you master those, don't worry about anything else. Right? Spend 10x the time that you think is needed to understand customer research and sales psychology. If you can understand, right, how to capture the attention of not just all people, but the right people, right? Create copy that resonates deeply with them so they pay attention and they feel like this is the thing they've been looking for. And then you know how to close that sale or convert that lead. It doesn't matter what you do, you will be successful.
Awesome. Some great advice there from you, Jennifer. And we are coming to the end of the show today, Jennifer. But before we do end, I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about your company?
Understanding your strengths and what you're good at isn't enough. You've likely known those your whole life. But once you understand why you have those strengths and how they play out, what motivates you to go all in, stick with it, persevere in the face of any challenge and win, you can apply that understanding to any part of your life to show up at your best and shine so everybody else thinks you're amazing.
Awesome. Great to hear that from you. And well, I do want to thank you for being on with us today. And to our listeners, you can check them out at motivationcode.com. And listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Path Monk Presents. Thanks a lot, Jennifer.
Thank you.